What's up, everybody? Apparently, we got Little John in the audience today. What's up, Little John?
What's up?
Yeah. What's up, Jim?
Hey, how's it going?
I am very excited, as always, to be back here. You know, I love doing this, and I love the people that we bring in here. So me and Jim, we have two different romances going on. He gets a new lighting or new angle on the camera, and he's like, oh, my God, this is amazing. Check it out. And when we get a new guest in here who has a story that I'm dying to share and has some project coming up, I get excited about that. But overall, I think we're both in love with just the whole process. Would you say that's accurate?
Everything in here. Our guests are exciting when we come here and we see them, we show them around. They get the wow factor. They always come in here and be like, wow.
But our favorite part, you guys out there, the people who keep this channel alive, thank you for watching and subscribing and liking the things that we do. That round of applause is for you. There's a girl in the front. She's wearing a shirt that says, I love audiences. She's right there. See how vivid my imagination is? No, but we're going to have a live audience at some point here. And the next person we're speaking to is going to kind of facilitate that potentially. And this is how I met her. But I would like everyone to give us a warm, big welcome to our guest today, Mrs. Silvia Gonzalez Scherer. Did I get it right?
Yeah, and you said Gonzalez, the way I like to hear it.
I pronounced it correct. I enunciated.
Yeah, did good.
Sí, hablo un poco de español. Why is it that, like, if you notice, like, the television voice for Spanish, if it's a male, a lot of time, they prefer the deeper.
Yeah.
Right? So a guy who's like, he talks normal, like, so what's going on? And then he gets in there, hola, hoy vamos a hablar de, right? It gets lower. So I try to go lower when I speak in Spanish so I can be more television friendly. So speaking of television and work and artistry, you've got a big project coming up, and I'm going to bring it up later, but I'm just going to plant that little Easter egg for the audience to go, what is the project?
Well, we got a number of projects, but the next project that's coming it isn't one that I created. We had Stanley Abad Williams come to us and say, I heard about your theater company. I'm interested in doing a documentary on you and how you got it started and what the things that you do there, and how did you go from like a basement somewhere to an actual place that you turned into like a little studio theater.
So this is Stanley?
Stanley, yeah. His name is Stanley.
Stanley, I apologize. You got the visual, and your documentary is coming out. It'll be amazing, and we will promote it. But today, we get the verbal version of how this all started. So let's go to the beginning. Where are you from?
Where am I from originally?
Originally,
I'm from Southern California. I'm from Pacoima.
Pacoima.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about Pacoima for a minute here.
Yeah.
We used to have this joke about what is in the water in Pacoima.
Oh, really?
Because I want to say about the 90s, all these stars started to come out of Pacoima. I'm thinking, you guys know Machete, right? What's his name? He has a...
Oh, the actor?
I can't think of his name right now. You know what I'm talking about? He has a taco stand now. And
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Oh, yeah, Danny Trejo.
From Pacoima.
Yeah.
Then, at the time, my favorite comedian was George Lopez.
Yep.
From Pacoima.
He went to my high school.
We're going to talk about that too, because the junior high. Remember the junior high story?
I went to Pacoima Junior High.
There you go.
So,
And Richie Valens is from Pacoima.
Richie Valens, my dad remembers because he was living there, and he remembers everything about Richie Valens. In fact, when they did La Bamba, they did it at my high school, the movie.
Yeah.
La Bamba with Luis Valdez. And they did the whole story of, Richie Valens. And so I was instrumental in, because I was student body president of San Fernando High School, and they asked me what color should we paint the school, and I was a youth, and I said, let's paint it yellow. And so
and that's what happened.
And so when you see the movie, and I saw the movie, I didn't know anything about the movie, but I saw the movie, and I'm looking at it, I go, that looks like my high school. Those look like the lockers down the hall. And then I saw that yellow, and I went, oh my God, they did the whole movie at my old high school.
Well, La Bamba was the 80s, right?
The movie? Yeah, the movie came out in the 80s, but of course that was reminiscent of what happened in the 50s, early 60s, 50s, when Richie Valens and Buddy Holly and all those guys were, the big swings.
So we're going to do a little reference for the audience. Yeah. I always assume that my audience, right, Jim, our audience is like a variety of ages, right? So they're like, La Bamba, who? So I'm just going to go back a little bit, you guys. There was a singer from Pacoima, California, in the San Fernando Valley. His name was Richie Valens. actually technically it was Ricardo Valenzuela,
Right.
right? And he shortened it to Richie Valens. There's a movie out, if you get a chance to check it out, it's called La Bamba. It came out in the 80s. And all this happened in Pacoima, which is the San Fernando Valley. And the reason we're talking about all this is because there's all this talent coming out of Pacoima.
Yeah.
And here's another one, right, Silvia? So, Silvia, I want you to tell a story because I think, Jim, you saw La Bamba, right?
Several times.
Right. So now, right, and Josh is with us today. Shout out to Josh for coming in to hang out with us. You guys can't see him on camera, but I promise you he's here in spirit. But check this out. You guys will be interested in this story. Silvia told me this. So in the movie, there's a scene where Richie keeps having this dream that there was a plane collision, midair collision, and that parts of the plane had landed in a playground. And Richie was apparently supposed to be at school that day. It was a junior high, right? And so I thought to myself, well, they tried to elaborate a little more for the script and, and kind of add some things to it. But then I talked to Silvia, and she confirmed some of this. Can you give us the backstory on that accident and what happened in Pacoima?
Well, there was a pilot who was having mechanical problems, and he knew that it was over for him. So he wanted to fly. He was in, going over residential areas, and he didn't want the plane to crash on houses. So he saw a field, which was the Pacoima Junior High, football, basketball, field. Track field. So he thought that would be a safe place for him to land. But as soon as he got close, the bell rang and all the kids ran out there.
Man.
And so a great number of kids passed away with that accident. It was interesting because I remember a teacher, Mrs. Goodman, had like scars on her face and on her neck. And I would ask people, what's wrong? What happened to her? No one told me until I saw the movie. Then I realized that she was one of the teachers that went out to help the kids. And so she got scarred, had burn scars from what happened. But he apparently was at a funeral for a grandparent. And so he was supposed to be there with his friends who actually died. His good friends died in that, terrible tragedy. And there is a memorial there, dedicated to the teachers and to the children who were the kids.
And this is
students.
Pacoima Junior High.
And it's at the Pacoima Junior High, which is right off of the Golden State Freeway and Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
Laurel Canyon right there, just in the heart of Pacoima. It's Pacoima Junior High.
So the statement in La Bamba, the movie, Jim, you say you saw a few times, is Richie says that my grandfather's death saved my life.
Right. But that's why in the movie he had these dreams or nightmares that he would crash in a plane because he felt that was supposed to have happened, had he been there. And of course, crazy, but at the end of the movie where he did die in an airplane crash.
And that was
with Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper.
Yep.
There was like 3 or 4.
There were 3 or 4 of them headed to a concert.
That's the day the music died, right? That's the song.
When that music ended, and then after that kind of gave rise to the Beatles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was right before the Beatles.
Yeah.
So you're part of that history. That's wow.
I guess. I want to also mention that I had the occasion to meet Cheech Moran. In fact,
you did?
I was invited to his...
Big fan.
I was
invited...
invited...
Cheech and Chong? Up in smoke.
I was actually invited to his wife is a Russian pianist.
Really?
Yeah. And
wow.
They had they call it a salon where they invite people. And crazy, my husband and I were invited. And we went there, and he has all this artwork all around his house, and of a lot of Latino artists, and it's just really beautiful.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the artists that he had on his wall, or one of the paintings of the artist, was George Yepes, who actually in his younger days did a poster for one of my plays. And
so it's all connected.
Yeah, so because when I saw that, but the funny thing is, oh, you have George Yepes. Oh, he did the artwork for one of my plays that was done in Southern California. And he goes, he was kind of a jerk. And I went, oh, okay.
All right, we'll leave that alone.
Oh, sorry, I brought that up. But you still have his artwork. But anyway,
separate the man from the art, right?
Yeah, but anyway, he, I did have an opportunity to say a couple words to him, and I said, hey, Cheech, I'm from Pacoima. And he goes, oh, yeah, Pacoima. Because him, Cheech, and Chong used to do some of the coffee houses there. Or not coffee
That's
houses,
where they started?
bars. That's where they
Oh,
did some of
wow.
their stuff. So of course, I knew he would know. He would have that memory.
So here's the thing with Cheech and Chong, and I don't know if Jim, Josh, you guys know about this, but I was watching his biography or something,
Mhm.
right? And when I grew up, Cheech and Chong, I was like, 8 or 9 or 10. I don't even know why I was watching it, but I was watching all their movies, right? And they're getting high and having a good time. And he talks like this, right?
Yeah.
And so I had this assumption about, who he was, his background, because I'm buying into this character he's playing, only to find out that, I think he went to like an Ivy League school, right?
Yeah, he's a quite intelligent man.
Yes. And
Yeah.
he opened I don't know if you guys know this, he has a art museum
Mhm.
in Riverside.
And he actually funded it or supported
Yeah,
the
and
art
it's called the
museum.
Cheech or something like.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, this guy is way more, educated and cultured than my assumption was.
Well,
right?
he's married to a Russian pianist.
That says it right
I
there.
mean, he was sitting about 5 feet from me, on the stairs, and I was standing, and his wife was just
Oh,
going
wow.
off, and with her music.
Wait, was this at his home?
That was at his home.
Where's he live in the San Fernando Valley?
He
still,
lives
or?
in Palisades,
Oh,
where
well,
the fires are right now.
I hope, Cheech, if you're watching, I hope you're safe and that your family's
Yeah.
safely evacuated and that your home is intact.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about the fires and what's happening out there.
Yeah. Incidentally, when we were there, they had like this spread in his backyard, and there happened to have been a fire down the valley. So we could see this fire,
Yeah.
from his backyard. And we were looking at it, and I kind of said, like, are you worried? He goes, it's kind of far away. We're okay. And then this time around, we were wondering,
Yeah.
what is the situation with his house. And then my son read something that his house is safe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Thank
his
you.
house, he's okay.
Round of applause for Cheech's house.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, especially with the artwork that he had on the walls. I was like freaking out. Going,
Yeah.
No, not the artwork.
Irreplaceable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to get to you, and you went from Pacoima. Then what was next for you?
Pacoima, I was lucky enough to I went from Haddon Avenue School in Pacoima to Pacoima Junior High. Then I graduated junior high and went to high school, and I went to San Fernando High School. And then from San Fernando High School, I was given a grant to go to Loyola Marymount University.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, was the goal to get into the arts, or what was the goal back
No,
then?
you know what? I always was interested in the arts. If I trace back when I was like in fourth grade, I wrote my own version of Cinderella.
Oh,
And-
yeah. Very creative.
Yeah, and then
Fourth grade, I was doing like crayon scribbling. She's writing plays.
and then in summer playgrounds, I was in some of the plays that they did there, and I was.
So it was there. It was there.
I guess it was there. I also had the artistic hand too.
What about the fashion?
The fashion?
Yeah, because there's a statement happening right
Oh,
here.
like right.
Everything. Are you guys seeing the hands? Can we see those? Can you give us jazz hands? Right? Was that always a part of your?
You know what?
Because artists, right? Don't you guys notice that artists tend to have a certain
You know
look?
what's good
I
about
gotta
being
step
an
up
artist?
my game. We just got
Well,
a black
I
shirt on.
gotta tell you. When you're an artist, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You have freedom. When you're
Andre 3000.
yeah, when you're not an artist, because I was a school teacher, and I
Yeah.
had to dress
Certain way.
properly. I had to speak properly, and once I shed that, I was able to be myself, and I'm happy to be myself.
No,
So
I love it.
I get to be crazy. My writing can be crazy.
It's like you view your body as like a canvas, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pepper up the hands.
I
and
just do whatever I want.
yeah, because it all flows, but it's colorful. This is gonna be great on camera, right? We get all kinds of.
Yeah.
So, what did those have holes in them, or is
Yeah,
it?
just
Who made those for you?
I don't know. I saw it online and I bought them, and I've had them for years.
I've
so
never
I just
seen.
Love them.
I love
just
that.
Love 'em.
It looks like
So,
the Paisleys.
yeah.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
I
But,
often
but
think about.
an artist had to have done this.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever think about this, like Prince, right? Prince always dressed a certain way, and I was just to wonder, like, hey, could I ever catch him at Walgreens in like sweats and a t-shirt? Like, will that moment ever happen, or do you think he's full time? Like, and then I found out the truth. Dave Chappelle had done skit on Prince, and he said that when they played basketball, right, he was wearing the blouse and the high heels, and so he was always on point.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
There was a Bryant Gumbel old video. I don't know if you guys saw it, because Bryant Gumbel, his last day on Good Day America or something, and he always wore this conservative suit and tie, and so Prince dressed as Bryant Gumbel and performed some of his favorite songs to say goodbye. But you definitely have the artist look. I'm trying to acquire that eventually.
Yeah.
I'm slowly working into it, but as you can see, it's all. Oh, I learned a new word.
What?
Josh, help me, English teacher. It was monogrammistic or It's when you wear the same color, you're all one color. Monochromatic. I knew he'd know it.
Yeah.
He reads, like Josh goes through books. You got to read the Cinderella story she created. So back to the story. You're at Loyola Marymount.
I'm at Loyola Marymount University, and I'm studying to be a teacher, but I kind of was hanging around with the artistic types, which is funny because in college people go, "Oh, those are the theater majors," you know.
Every college campus has them. Did you have them, Jim?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, ours, and then you guys tell me if this was yours. The theater majors never sat in chairs. They would be out in the quad in the grass, you know, and cross the legs and then kind of playing duck, duck, goose and running around and acting out Shakespeare.
Playing frisbee.
Right,
Yeah.
right. There was, and that was,
tree
and I was
huggers.
like, there's the theater group, there's the performers. And to me, I love that because I always tell my students in the high school, say, hey, if your group doesn't exist here on campus, you know, when you get out to college or wherever, you're going to find your like-minded individuals, and when you find each other, you know, it's going to be, we're all weird together. Yeah. And that's so empowering, right? I don't mean weird in the negative sense, but just different, unique, thematic, I don't know.
Well, you see me walking down Hanford, you know I'm different. So.
and you run with a lot of artists.
Well, and it builds a bit of those are the kids that have the confidence level to where they could express themselves in ways that other kids are like eating by themselves in the corner. Yeah. Right. You know, and they're like, and then they attract just by the nature of their actions, the way they are on campus. And you're like, oh, who are they? Yeah. You know? And so some people might be attracted to say, I want to meet those people, you know, so.
Yeah. And so, okay, so then you're hanging out with the theater group.
I tried not to, but I was.
You couldn't deny your inner theater child.
Yeah, but you know, I did sign up with Mecha, and we would do some political plays. And I remember I played the bell tower.
Was that your first acting gig?
If you don't count when you're a kid, you know that would be my first college thing. But I was really focused on being a school teacher because my culture made me believe that the arts, you know, was not a good thing to go into.
Starving artists.
Yeah.
You're not going to make any money, Sylvia, and you're not going to have benefits.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're going to end up on the streets.
So I try to avoid them and try to focus on, you know, becoming a school teacher. And, you know, there were kids who messed around, and I knew that I had so much money to graduate. I had a roommate that if she got a C, she would drop the class and take the class, you know, the same class over again to get an A. Yeah. I'm like, hey, I can't afford to take another class. I got to really get it done.
Get it right the first time.
Get it right.
So you had that pressure.
Yeah, I did.
Positive pressure.
Yeah. But, I mean, I was able to accomplish a goal, which was to, you know, become a certified school teacher and get a job afterwards. And so,
where was your first teaching gig?
Actually, there's a space in there that I should mention. That Loyola Marymount University wants students to study abroad. And so I used some of my grant money to study in Italy.
Where'd you go?
Italy? Went to Italy.
Oh, you guys been to Italy? Josh, I want to head out there. I always everybody tells me like, okay, the real pizza is not, you know, it's not what we're going to have here. It's a little different. And I was like, what is it? What's kind of a cracker with some cheese on it? Is that accurate?
It was, yeah.
Okay, sorry, folks. The real pizza is a little different.
Yeah, actually, the real pizza was made, or the pizza that we're familiar with was in Beecher Boulevard in New York City.
That was the first original.
Yeah, there's the original pizza was done there.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, so and I knew as a school teacher I'll never afford to travel. So I thought this is a time to do it.
She speaks the truth there. She speaks the truth.
Time out. We got to do a teacher count. Teacher. teacher, and this whole room's
it's a
teacher.
whole room full of them, right? Yeah.
And the lady on Friday night, Lilia Chavez.
She was a teacher too.
She was a former teacher.
Okay,
so.
wow.
But anyway, so I decided to go to Italy, and some of my college friends they went to Spain, and and I'm like, well, we know everything about Spain. I mean, we know Spanish language. Why go there? I want to go someplace different.
Yeah, I would have probably picked Spain.
Yeah, well, they did, and I was the only renegade, and I went to Italy. So I went to Italy.
Solo.
Yeah, because I couldn't get them to go with me.
Wow.
So,
But see, I encourage my own kids at home, and I don't know, Jim, because you have children too. I don't know if you encourage this as well, but I always tell my kids this. Listen, it's nice to do things with your friends. But if there's ever a scenario where you really want to do something and no one else, you cannot be afraid to go alone. Yeah. And I've encouraged them that at some point, I want you to go watch a movie by yourself. Okay? Raise your hand if you've ever gone to a movie by yourself because you want to see it.
100%.
Right?
100%. I don't care.
There are people that refuse to go to the movies by themselves. And I'm like, if you really want to see it, there's no interaction anyway. You're watching the actors on the screen.
It's the aftermath of saying, "Hey, did you like that? What was your best part? What do you think about that?"
We're gonna go next level.
There, you're like, "Oh, really?"
Here's next level. Okay, we're gonna raise our hand on this one. Raise your hand if you've ever gone to the drive-in in a car by yourself.
Yeah, no, I've never done that. You've done that? Yeah, no.
I did it once by myself. The other time, I snuck in my friend in the trunk. I apologize, San Jose drive-in, but we couldn't afford both of us.
But that's the whole point of drive-ins it's a collaboration of friends and gatherings and pizza and whatever you do in there.
When I took my friend out of the trunk, everybody was like, "Oh my God, did he abduct someone?" Because everybody's watching, like, what? We went to great lengths. Hey, either you're coming in with me, sitting next to me, or you're getting popcorn. What's it going to be?
So it was at $6 a carload, and you only take one person. You're getting ripped off.
We had enough for the popcorn though. Yeah. Okay, so
I'm in Italy,
Yeah, and what's that like?
I learned Italian because it's very similar to Spanish, and people thought I was Italian.
And where were you living?
At a convent.
With the nuns.
Loyola Marymount. There's a Loyola of Chicago, Loyola Marymount of Los Angeles, and there's Loyola Rome Center. So
I didn't know that.
So all the schools that had Loyola or were part of the Jesuit educational system, that's where we would go if you would go to, the Loyola Rome Center. You would go there, and so
you lived.
So I lived there.
Did you have a curfew?
Huh?
Was there any feedback from the nuns like, Sylvia, you should be in earlier?
No, but I was always teasing the priests because they were down in the basement drinking a lot.
Really?
And I'd go, again?
But it was the wine, right? The bread and the wine.
Yeah. So
have you ever, did you grow up Catholic?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You guys been to Catholic church at all? Yeah, I noticed certain priests enjoy the wine more than others, right? You can always that guy drinks. Because they'll spin it a little bit, smell it.
So, I've always wanted. It's grape juice, right? It's grape juice.
Depends.
Because
I was an altar boy, so I'm gonna say depend. Were you ever an altar boy?
No, I'm not Catholic, so I never know.
Oh yeah, you guys had the church that I went to for your mom's funeral, right?
Yeah.
That's where you went to?
No, I didn't go to that church, but that was her
Where'd
church.
You go to church?
I went to First Southern Baptist with my grandparents in Dinuba.
Oh, okay.
Of Alta, but
that's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. But the question is, I'd always see the father drink what was left inside there, and it's like, does he have to drink that? I mean, or is he really wanting to drink that? I used to always watch that. So anyways.
Sometimes it's grape juice.
Well, you know what's unique about the Jesuits, which is why I was so happy, because I never went to a parochial school until I went to college. I just wanted to see what that was like.
Yeah.
And those Jesuits, they're really smart, really intelligent, and they're wild. They're crazy. They're insane. They're insane. And so I remember
in a good way.
In a good way. In a good way. I mean, they're they understand biology. Because one student had the nerve to ask the priest, are you? Well, I guess he was basically asking him, "Are you gay?" or something like that. And the priest answered. And the priest answered. And I remember there was an earthquake. We had a little earthquake, and we all jumped under the chairs because we were in L.A. And we jumped under the desks. And the priest, who was teaching, was Father Sweeney. He went like this. And then he goes, darn it, it's not the end of the world.
Oh.
Fearless.
Wow. I thought, oh my God, this is, awesome.
This wasn't the Northridge quake, was it?
No, it was one earlier. One? That was one earlier.
Was it a big one? Or?
Well, there was one in 71, and that people have already forgotten, but there's been a couple since. But it was just a tremor. It was a 5.0.
Okay. L.A. people's version and other areas are different, and I'll tell you how I know that. I was on the 17th floor of a building in Glendale, right? Mm-hmm. My brother had an office there. Shout out to First Capital Financial. And it was me and my two sisters and my brother were the only ones from the Central Valley. Everyone else that he had hired on was from L.A. And the buildings are on rollers. So they sway, right, in anticipation of an earthquake, but they're not going to crumble because they're kind of moving with it. Yeah. So the building starts, and at first I'm like, am I still hungover from yesterday? And then I look at my brother, and he comes running out of his office. My two sisters are coming out of their cubicle, and we're the only four in the stairwell running down. Everyone else in our office is just like kind of just still working. I remember guys still typing away. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, where are you guys going? And it's like, you don't feel this building? Mm-hmm. But the Los Angeles people,
yeah,
just work through it.
What will happen is if you feel something, you look at something that would sway, and it's usually lampshades. And if the lampshade is swaying, then you know it's an earthquake.
And you're good.
And you're like, well, you just watch. And if it goes longer, then you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, the lampshade falls down. You're like, okay.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
So you're done with school.
So I went to I went to Loyola.
Yeah.
And I was there for about a semester, and then I meet this guy, Tom Scherer.
Tom Scherer.
Yeah, and so he,
was he at school there?
His father was a sociology professor.
Oh,
and what's interesting about his father actually worked with Jesse Jackson, with the breadbasket in Chicago. So,
he was in the midst of all that.
Yeah, he was in the midst of that, and so his father, of course, became a sociologist. Working with Jesse Jackson and then became a sociologist and started teaching at Loyola of Chicago. Okay,
that's
so
right, Chicago, Rome.
Yeah, so he taught at Loyola
LA.
Chicago, and for teaching at that university, his kids can go there for free. So his son...
That's a deal.
Yeah, so his son went to Loyola of Chicago. And so, there's the programs, the Rome Center programs. He went to the Rome Center halfway through the year, and I was there, the whole year.
Yeah.
And what helped me stay there the whole year is when I went there for the first semester, I was only supposed to be there one semester, my luggage got lost. And so I was waiting for my luggage to come back, and it never came. I think it went to Damascus. And so the airlines gave me $400. And I thought, well, with $400, I can stay another semester. And I did.
Wow.
And then I met him. And so.
See how that happens?
Yeah. And then he proposed. I'm like, no, we got to keep it quiet, not let anybody know. But, then we got married August before he started medical school.
Yes.
And I went to Loyola Chicago for my last year, and then finished.
That is so perfect.
Yeah, and then I because I was in Chicago, I knew that Chicago had a lot of arts, so I would teach school and then audition for plays and commercials and
so that's where that started.
Yeah, and also my playwriting. So I started doing playwriting there too, and so
it was in you, just ready to come out.
Yeah. And I was glad he was busy in school because I would go to the underground poetry venues.
Yeah,
and you'd sign up to read your poems and sometimes I didn't get to read it till about 2 a.m.
You'd stay out that long?
Yeah. I wanted to read my writing. And
you were dedicated.
And then I would run home in a hurry, and then he'd come home at like 4.
From his work.
From his work.
That's the perfect schedule.
And I'd go, He goes, oh, I'm sorry you were alone all day or all night. And I go, no, it's okay.
You wouldn't tell him, I got home 5 minutes before you. Right?
And that was the case. But I had the ability to try the arts.
Yeah.
You know,
why not?
Do shows, do plays, write stuff, try to. I was mostly interested. They called me the actress who didn't want to act, but it was my writing that was more precious to me. So I would audition for a play. And it's funny because my friends would go, they're looking for a Hispanic woman, so go audition for this. And then I would go audition. And then they'd say, thank you very much. We'll let you know. And I'd say, actually, I'm not interested in the part. I just wanted to, audition so that you could read my script. And I'd get on my script.
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. But then they would cast me in the play. So.
Look, you're the only one upset that you get cast in the play. You know what you find, and I think this is an energy thing, and I don't know, Josh and Jim, if you've ever kind of felt this as well. It's like when you push for something and really try to force it to happen, that's when you get resistance.
Right.
And when you just kind of throw it out there and you don't care as much and you're relaxed, that's when it starts to work.
And I've been on both sides of the table because I've auditioned people to be in my plays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, this is good experience to be on both sides. And it's better that you're just like, hey, if I get it, great. If I don't, I don't,
That's the best version,
yeah, I
right?
think it's the best. And so we teach auditioning skills at our theater.
Okay, I need to go. I need to go to one of those.
Yeah.
My goal is to play a teacher in at least one film, right? Give me my 5 minutes, right? Even if it's just like, hey, class, go sit down. All right. But something. And you know what the other thing I thought about, Silvia, is, and Josh and Jim, tell me if you've seen this. In 2025, you can still find a few movies where the classroom scene has a blackboard. Have you guys seen that? Mm-hmm. And we're all thinking the same thing, like we haven't seen blackboards.
Yeah.
But that's just what, and that tells me there is either not a teacher consultant on the set, or they think that audiences still, associate the blackboard. Yeah. And I was like, let's put a whiteboard up. Let's move on to what it really looks like.
Or like Criminal Minds. I used to always watch that and just cringe, thinking, there's no way I could teach students that are that bad. You just think like you give Michelle Pfeiffer, is that her name? Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Give her credit for sticking it out. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I would. When they pull a knife on you and you're like, is LA schools that bad? I don't know.
Metal detector.
Chicago schools, Phoenix, I pulled a knife away from a 5-year-old. I was like, oh my God.
You had a knife?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And then in Chicago, I was a practicing teacher in one of the Chicago schools. And, the police would come pick up a kid and I'd say, what'd you do? And he'd tell me and I go, all right, we'll see you when you get back, But
wow.
So,
okay, so you're teaching, you're auditioning.
Yeah.
How do you end up in California?
My husband, when he was done with his medical school training, he wanted to live out west. And he says, I want to live in the mountains. And so we went to Oregon. We went to Central Oregon to live
beautiful.
There. And we were there for a good many
years. What city were you in Oregon?
The town is called Powell Butte, but he worked in Prineville.
I don't know
which
those.
is near Bend. It's near Bend, Oregon. And so he was in the area hospitals there. And then he at a certain point of time, actually around 2009, 2010, he said, the things economically are not looking good here, because a lot of people couldn't pay their medical bills. And so if they can't pay their medical bills, he can't get paid. So he was thinking, maybe we need to look around. And I said, maybe California. Oh, no, never California.
Oh, he was against it.
Yeah, he was kind of like they won't accept, me. It's too crowded. There's too many doctors there. And I said, well, let's give it a go. And so we went to Madera to look for a position. And
Madera was the first place?
Madera was one of the first places. Quincy, Eureka. We looked in a couple of other places in Southern California, and came to Hanford. And then we thought, unless it's if it's a lateral move, let's not do it. Economically, if it's a lateral move. But if it's an improvement economically, then we'll make the move. And so then we thought about it, and then Hanford called us up again and said, "Why don't you do a second try?"
So from Oregon to Hanford.
Yeah. So and the thing is, Central California is similar to Central Oregon.
Oh, okay.
It's a similarity, so it wouldn't be that bad, Over there's cattle, ranches, peppermint, potatoes, carrots.
A lot of white trucks. Have you noticed that Kings County's all white trucks?
And
have you noticed that? All white trucks in Kings County.
Yeah, and so it had the similar feel here, and our kids at that time were 11 and 12. So we either make the move now before they go to high school because we didn't want to mess them up emotionally,
Yeah.
And so we took the plunge. And
how long have you been in Hanford now?
We moved in August 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been a little while now.
Let's get to the heart of it now.
Yeah.
At some point, you say, you know what? I'm going to create a theater right here in Hanford.
So what happened, a friend of mine from the East Coast said, "Silvia, you got to go to Brown's University because you need a master's in playwriting." And I'm like, "Well, if I get a master's in playwriting, what do I get to do with it?" And they say, "Well, you get to teach at a university." Yeah. And I'm thinking the closest university is in Fresno. And I'm thinking, I don't want to drive all the way there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do this. And but they kept urging me, you'll have an open door, come on in, get up, it will be good for your career, your playwriting career. And then I remember being in Hanford and I saw some little kids, and a few of those little kids reminded me of when I was a little kid in Pacoima and how I wanted to be involved in the arts, but my parents couldn't afford, acting classes or even art classes.
It's expensive.
And and I remember how he cried, "I want to do it," and, just, no se puede, and I'm like, okay. So then when I saw a few little kids that reminded me of me, I thought to myself, I got to put together a theater and give free acting classes for those kids who really need something like this.
Good for you, Sylvia, to identify something and make a move.
Yeah, so I felt better in investing my money in something that was for the community rather than for myself, because I kind of felt like a master's in playwriting was mostly for myself. Yeah. And I couldn't do it just for me. I had to do it. So I figured the money that I would spend on getting a master's would be better served in a community where kids like me, can have an opportunity to experience the arts. And I really feel strongly that it's good for your well-being, getting confidence from it, being able to speak in front of an audience or speak in front of people, be able to work together like teamwork.
Yeah.
Theater, when you're in a play, you work together, to make the play happen. All these are just very important skills for a better future. And so I really wanted to do that, and that's what I did.
So how did you go? I'm going to take that laundry mat right there. Like, how did you choose that space?
Well, we were itinerant. We were going from place to place to place. So one place, we were in the old courthouse in the judges' chambers, and we were doing free acting classes up there. And
the one on the Civic Center area?
Yeah, the one in the Civic Park. So what it was is that there was a director of the Chamber of Commerce who was pleading in the newspaper, is there anybody who have good ideas on how to utilize the courthouse?
Yeah,
the space. And so, and I saw it for like about 2 years. I saw him, literally begging for, a better use.
That long?
Yeah, because it took me a while to go, I don't know. But meanwhile, I was flying to New York, flying to Chicago, flying to different places, Texas, with my work. Yeah. Getting my plays workshopped and developed. And, after a couple of years, I thought, wouldn't it be better if I just, trained actors in Hanford and then have them read my scripts rather than buying a ticket and going somewhere. So I said, can we use the space to teach acting classes? And he was like all for it. So that's where we started in the upper chambers. Yeah. But then when the elevator broke, we had to go to the basement. and do acting classes, in the hallway in the basement. And then the Civic was just on the other side of the park, and so I asked the Parks and Rec if I can rent the space, and so they let me rent the space.
Oh, with the stage there?
Well,
The
no,
Civic
it's just
Center?
a room. Rent a room. So
Oh,
we did
okay.
acting classes there for a little while. And then when they doubled the price, I said, "Oh, I can't do it." And so then there
Was
was
this all funded through a grant or?
no, I was funding it.
Wow.
I was funding it. So then there was a museum there, and
Mhm.
I asked the people there, do you think you have a space that we can use here? And I'll pay you a little money. And so they said, yeah, they were real into it because they thought this was a good way to bring kids to the museum
Yeah.
and bring people, because people, after a while, well, with the internet, the museums were dying out. Because if you wanted to know what Benjamin Franklin's eyeglasses look like, you just
Yeah.
put it in and you see it in the Smithsonian,
Or you can
website.
actually tour museums now,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly. So they were excited that we, could do something there and bring people to the museum. And then after a little while, we started thinking that there were some things going on with the city council and the museum, and we thought, oh, we don't want to be involved in that. Let's look for another place. So then I asked the mall, the Hanford Mall, if
Yeah.
we could take one of their empty rooms or empty storefronts and do acting classes there over the summer. And they were excited about it. Parents liked it. They dropped their kids off in the acting classes, and then
was it like a lease or how did it work?
No,
with the
they
mall?
gave it to us for free.
The mall did?
Yeah.
Shout out to Hanford Mall. Thank you for supporting the arts.
Yeah, Joanne Dorter, the manager, she said yes.
We love you, Joanne.
And so then after that, we did get a grant. And so we looked for another space, and then we found an old church, an old 1800s church. And we were there for about 6 months before the pandemic.
Oh, okay. It's right
yeah.
before 2020.
Yeah, right before the pandemic. And so then for a while we didn't do anything, and I did art in my bedroom. I did, videos, and started doing little films and stuff, and forcing my daughter to help me.
I'm sure she loved that. Mom.
Yeah. I go, you have to hold the camera, like a camera like this,
Yeah.
We had our lights and stuff, and I did some podcasting. I did my own podcasting.
Oh, you
and
did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we did podcasting, and then after a while, we amassed a good amount of money in our checking account from grants, and so then I said, let's find a real place. And so then on the day that I was like, we gotta get a new place, we gotta, because we were a little too far from the
Now,
downtown.
had the world opened up again?
Yeah.
This was after the
Yeah,
pandemic?
this was when the world opened up in
2021?
2022 that we moved into our new place.
Oh, okay.
December 2022. 22, we've been, 3 years. So
Yeah.
we've been there 3 years. So I was just, I was thinking, we got to have our own place, because, there were some limitations in that old church that you couldn't pin anything on the wall. You couldn't hang anything.
You couldn't make it your own.
You couldn't really make it our own.
Yeah. Because your place, and by the way, viewers, I'm going to put a link to I had a 10-minute video where I tour your entire theater. I'm going to show you guys. They've really made this space into their own, and it's got real signature feel to it. One of the signature things that I noticed is the neon signs.
Oh, yeah.
Like the one behind you there on there.
Yeah, I love neon. So
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, so the day that I said we need our own place or just forget it, I saw on Facebook an ad, in the market section to see this place.
And what was it? What was the space advertised as? A laundromat or?
Commercial building.
Commercial building.
So I asked if I can go see. It had pictures. I went to go see it, and I went, oh, when I saw the brick.
Yeah.
I went, oh, that's like, North Hollywood studio theaters and
You
like
saw
Chicago.
You had the vision in your
and
mind.
the New York theaters that I went to, and I went, and I just thought, this is it. And they go, what do you want to do with this? And I said, I want to make it into a theater. And they go, oh, okay. So So I used my credit because our theater didn't have very much credit, so I used my personal credit
Sylvia,
to get the place. And
you really put some skin in the game.
yeah, I had to. It just had to be done.
It takes people like you who are willing to just put it out there.
Yeah.
So then you turn it into a space.
It was an old dry cleaners. And
I can't see any of that when I go in there. I see a stage, I see a brick wall, I see a theater.
Yeah, that's
you really have.
Well, thank you.
No, and you have a green room. Jim, she has a green room. And she even like stocks the fridge with food. Like, she's so into the details, right?
Yeah.
So you
or even the pipes in the back. I don't know if you noticed the pipes in the back. There's a lot of electrical pipes all over. We painted them different colors.
I didn't see. I'm gonna look at that. So then, you start to bring in what first? What are you bringing in in terms of the arts? Once you have a theater.
I give acting classes because that's our outreach. Is giving acting classes for anybody between the ages of 4 and 99.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm in.
You're in.
Yeah.
I want to come in.
Yeah.
And learn some skills.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, we have them as young as 44 years old, and we had this guy who he's actually a teacher, a retired teacher. He said, I'm a retired teacher. His name is Dwayne.
Dwayne Tubbs?
Yes!
Dwayne Tubbs. Do you know?
No.
He sat on this couch about 4 months ago. He was the one, remember, he was a longtime teacher, retired, and he also coached that state championship basketball team.
Oh, yeah. I do remember.
That's who she's talking about.
Oh,
He
wow.
signed up.
He's been on the show.
He just started. Oh, that's awesome.
Wait, he just signed up now?
He just signed up about 2 weeks ago.
Dwayne, I'm coming.
Yeah.
We're going to work together.
So he signed up. He says, I'm 65. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old. And I said, well, our acting coach is 93. So I think you're going to be fine.
And she'll be like, oh, you young whippersnapper.
Yeah, but you know what? He's really good. He's really good. Well, he stays for the acting classes, and then he comes to the acting classes, and then he stays for an extra hour and a half for improv, and he is good.
Shout out to Dwayne Tubbs.
Yeah,
he does voiceover.
Yeah,
acting.
he told me he showed me his cards, and I said, put your cards right here on the table. Anytime somebody needs a voiceover, they can grab your card there. So
wow, what a small world.
What a small world.
Now
That's
you
funny.
do comedy shows there, and
we do stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is basically to help us make money because we got to make money.
Yeah,
it's too hard for me to charge tuition to our community that isn't like the Silicon Valley. We don't have. We have mostly agricultural people, your basic blue-collar workers, and my dad was a blue-collar worker, and it's just so hard for me to ask for tuition. I just can't do it. So
I know. But you know what, Sylvia? That's why you're going to be rewarded in other ways.
Well,
because
thank you.
You're such a giver. So let's get to this like huge. To me, I think it's a game changer. You were recently the focus of a documentary.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well,
wait, we got a real audience. I've wanted a live audience forever. Look, we got.
That's good.
If you guys could see, there's 4 of them. They're right there. What's up, Eddie? And then Josh. So that counts as 5. Jim, we've got an audience.
It's the most people we've had up here, right? Yeah.
All right.
That's awesome.
So you guys, when he hits the applause track, we're going to give him some real claps too.
That's good. Well, so basically, this artist showed up. He said he was in L.A. doing documentaries there.
Yeah.
And he moved back home, to Hanford.
Oh, he's from Hanford?
He's from Hanford, went to L.A., interested in filmmaking. That's his love. He wants to do film. And he said, I've done 2 documentaries, and I would like to do a documentary on.
How long was he out in L.A.?
He was there for a few years and came, I think, about a year ago. Came back here.
Did he work in television at all?
No. That's a tough business. I think his goal is to he's interested in work. He's a Filipino, and he's very interested in doing Filipino type things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so he's
represent the culture.
Yeah, he wants to represent the culture, but he also wants to get in with. They're in England, a Filipino Asian production company there, and so he's very interested in his very focus in getting them to get some interest in him.
Yeah.
And so one way is to keep developing work so he can show them. And so
portfolio.
Yeah, so he wanted to add to his portfolio and do our theater. And
wow.
And
so I'm going to do a quick shout out, a quick flex, if you will. We're going to flex for a minute here, folks. You talk about television and some awards and whatever. Is there anyone in the room who's ever won an Emmy? Please stand up.
I ain't standing up.
Emmy award-winning cameraman right here.
Edward Murrow Award.
The Edward Murrow. That's the one you like to see.
That's the one I like.
See, we don't know the difference.
Yeah, there's a Mark Twain Award,
So
Edward Murrow Award. Yeah,
camera nerds are like Edward Murrow.
Yeah.
We don't.
So there we go.
You guys know the Edward Murrow Award? I don't know that one. I know the Emmy.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
So
Jim's won a couple of awards I didn't know about until last week?
Yeah.
They're
in my classroom.
We don't even talk about it ourselves. I'm like, Jim, I built a library one. What?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this, what's his name? The documentary person?
It's Stanley Abad, A-B-A-D.
Look out for that
Williams.
name, guys. Stanley Abad. And we're going to put a link to his documentary when it comes out.
Yeah.
And so we'll re-release this episode.
Yeah.
But so what was it like being the focus of a documentary? Was it kind of like cameras following you?
I kept saying, do the theater, but he kept wanting to interview me. And
Yeah,
I'm
because-
like, do the theater.
But here's the thing, Sylvia, and I'm with him on this.
Yeah.
The theater is an amazing space, but you're the story. You're the heart. It doesn't exist without you. So you want to go with the origin.
Yeah.
And I think that I was taught this early, and I know, Jim, you probably in your training, creating stories throughout the year, or throughout, 25 years? In
27, yeah.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah.
But who's counting now?
Long time,
It's like 27 and 2 months, 3 days, but who's counting? 17 awards.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. He acts like he remembers.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Is this not right? Like, when you go out and cover something, it's not necessarily the incident, but what is the story behind that, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Visually, then then the story itself, and then try to do the same thing twice different. Try to do the same story twice, but different.
Okay, that just sounds difficult to
Yeah,
me.
it is.
So now you're the story, right? And so that's what we're seeing here. And so this documentary is going to tell us about the inception of the theater. What will we learn about?
The inception of the theater, and I wasn't aware of it until he interviewed my family. He interviewed my husband. He
he went
interviewed
deep.
my daughter. He interviewed my son.
Did he come to the house?
No, he didn't come to the house, but he interviewed them there, and he actually brought a camera person, a videographer from L.A., and he used a sound person out of Fresno to do this. So
is this going to be on the festival circuit?
Yeah. He wants to put it in the festival. He's cutting 2 versions, one for festivals and one, for.
Can we say the title? Do we have a title?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Brick by Brick.
Brick. I love that. Hey guys, check this out. Brick by Brick documentary coming out soon. We'll have a link here on
February
the RobLive channel.
15.
February 15th is the release date. Now, are they going to share?
Well, actually,
is it going to be
February
public
15,
viewing?
He said a premiere for family and friends
At the Little Brick Theater.
At the Little Brick
Perfect.
Theater. Brick
You're
by
watching.
brick.
You're watching a documentary
Yeah.
about the very place where you're.
Exactly, and then he's going to release it out.
Wait. Is
out
there a
at
question
large.
and answer portion?
I don't know, but
No, you
there'll
have
be
to.
champagne and wine or something. So
We're in, right? Josh is there.
Ribbon cutting.
You said
So,
champagne. No, I'm just
yeah,
saying, Josh.
and then we'll open up to the public so they can come and see.
I think there has to be a
so.
Q&A afterward where we
Yeah,
talk
I
to you
think
and the
you're right.
filmmaker.
I think you're right. Yeah.
All right,
Make sure the press know about it. I mean,
Huh?
that's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we're
Let
gonna
the
tell
press-
everybody.
Yeah, it's
Channel 30.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like little old Hanford, all of a sudden doing something.
That is amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really nice, and it's weird because I had a vision of a documentary back in 2018.
It was all a dream.
But like I asked this guy, would you videotape our inception, our how we're developing? And he came for a couple of days, and then I never saw him again. So I thought, whoop. Oh well, but I had the idea of a documentary to show how a theater evolved.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it was weird that he came up and says, "I want to do a documentary," and I went, I thought about this.
You threw it out there.
Yeah.
You manifested with your energy.
I guess I manifested it somehow, but it felt like it needed to be done.
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't my doing. You know, it was somebody else's doing. So it was very, very good, and it's really good for him because he's trying to get out there. And our theater is like a creative place. You know, people are like, oh, I thought about theater in high school, but now I'm in my 40s now. I go, get in here, get in here.
Never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. What's interesting is I remember when I was in Chicago, I had one of my plays produced there, and I had to audition. And I saw this guy come and audition, and he was like, his charisma was great. He was real into it. And I thought, wow, you know, and he looked like an older gentleman. So I thought he must have been doing this for years. So I went up to him and I said, hey, you know, how long have you been acting? He goes, 1 year. And I went, what? He goes, yeah, as soon as I retired, I wanted to do what I've always wanted to do my whole life. And that's perform. And I said, well, you're so happy and you look like you're having a good time. And that charisma, you know, is inviting me to hire you. So, you know.
And you hired him.
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
AJ, so nothing but a number.
It's nothing but a number. You know, it's if you got it. And he had it. And he had such enthusiasm. And what happens on the other side of the table, you're like, I want to work with that guy. Or I want to work with that girl, you know. And that's basically what it is. What's interesting, if you listen to RuPaul, I'm kind of addicted to RuPaul Drag Race. But she says, she makes fun of Pacoima every now and then, which is hilarious, you know. And she says to
she says you better work.
Yeah, but she says to the drag queens, she says, if you're somebody who has great energy, people will want to hire you, want to work with you, and remember you. And that's more important than talent. And actually, I think it's true. I think
energy.
Yeah. People, hey, I want to work with that person, you know.
You have it.
Yeah. So that was the advice that she was giving.
It's amazing.
Some of those drag queens, and so.
So let's go down our list because we're about to close this one out.
Sure.
But documentary Brick by Brick coming out February 15th. Come check out the Little Brick Theater, also called the Hanford Multicultural.
The home of the Hanford Multicultural Theater Company.
Multicultural Theater Company. I'm going to put a link to their website. If you live locally in the area, they have acting lessons. They have great things happening there. And all of it is because of Silvia Gonzalez Scherer.
I also want to throw another plug.
Throw it out there.
March 22nd and March 23rd, and then the next following 2 weeks, so it's 3 weekends.
Yeah.
We have our actors performing 3 plays. 2 of them I wrote. One is called Blind Quinceanera, and it's with some of our teen actors.
Oh, okay.
And another one is written. It's called. It's called Clean, and it's about 2 guys, and it's written by somebody else. And it's about 2 guys who are who have a pact to not drink anymore.
Oh.
And then
is Dwayne Tubbs in that one?
No, he's not in that one. And then the third one is called Big Breasts, and it's about
self-explanatory.
It's about silicone implants.
Oh, okay.
So, and I wrote 2 of those. So,
wow. Oh, that's right. So a lot going on. We want to see more of you. Yeah. Will you come back after the documentary and follow up with us?
Absolutely.
Till next time, right?
Yeah.
You guys remember to like and subscribe and check out the Little Brick Theater. We will have links to that. Support your local arts wherever you may be. Yeah. Even if you're that subscriber, that one person we have in Ireland, right? We keep giving them shout outs. Right?
No, we do. I hope they respond.
I know. We have an international subscriber. We're excited about that. But guys, support your local arts. Look for those art councils that are out there. Get grants. There's money out there. There's talent out there. And there's people with big hearts like Silvia who will support your dream. Right. So I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back, and we can't wait to see that documentary. Until next time, is RobLive saying love, peace, and chicken grease. We out.
All right.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
That's a first.
Yeah.
Was a mic on for that?